Hi, welcome back to another Inkvent Calendar day. This is the Diamine Red edition of the Inkvent Calendar, and we are going to day 13. And what is it? There. Okay, now we have it in frame, and let's see what is inside. Okay, little flap is open, and this one is called Ruby Blues, and it is a sheen ink, and I wonder how a blue ink is called ruby. Maybe it has a red sheen, that would be my guess, but that's what we'll see next. So please stay tuned and we'll check it now. And now let's see how this ink, Ruby Blues, which I suspect it is a red and blue, or a blue with a red sheen, how this ink will behave. Look there. On the mouth of the bottle there's already some red sheen. So let's see how it behaves on paper. Again, 3 little drops, 1, 2, 3 of ink on the paper. Let me cap the bottle and let's see how it will look like. First of all, it is a very nice blue ink. I'm not a big fan of blue, but this is at least when wet, a very deep and nice looking blue. So let's see how it will look when it is dry. So I guess here you can already see, maybe there, you can already see some reddish reflexes. So I think this will be very visible, but we will see. So I will be back in a moment to show you the rest of the full review. And here we are for the final part of the Ruby Blues review. So this is a blue ink with a sheen. The swatch, sorry, I didn't remember the word. The swatch dried like this. I know it is not 100% dry there, but I needed to go on with the video because I'm doing this all too late. But there it is dry enough. So you can see it is a blue ink, kind of a dark blue ink with a red sheen that is very well visible. Now, I want to show the comparison of this ink with some other inks, and the most interesting thing is that the inks that I find more similar to this one are the inks from the Inkvent Calendar of 2019, and we have 3 inks that I think that are comparable, which are inks with no shimmer, just with sheen, and blue with red sheen. So we had this one, the Midnight Hour, which is a kind of a dusty blue with heavy red, almost black sheen in some parts. We have the, for day 20, the Festive Cheer, which is more a purplish blue with maybe a little darker but still red sheen, and also the Polar Glow, which is a little lighter but also with sheen. So I'm not sure if this one had some shimmer, maybe a little bit. I can see some glitter there, but maybe some cross-contamination. I don't remember anymore. So here you have all of them. These two are very similar, I would say. The most amazing sheen is on this ink more than on that one. I think the sheen is a little bit dull, I would say. When we compare with other inks that are not from this Diamine Inkvent Calendar, I don't have many. I have here the Leonardo Turchese Hawaii and Leonardo Ficina Italiana ink. This Turchese Hawaii also has some red sheen and in a kind of a dark turquoise color, and it is very similar to the Polar Glow. And finally, I have this ink that was a limited run, as far as I know, the Mont Blanc for BMY, and you have this. And BMW. And you have this shade of ink which is more, it is lighter than that, and the sheen is also reddish but less visible than in that ink. So these are the swatches, and I don't think that this ink is that unique. It has a visible sheen, but just a different shade of blue on the main part of the ink. For the swatch, we have a part that is clearly water resistant. This is also sort of water resistant, so it's not completely clear here on the paper, and then you have blue with blue. So it's not completely waterproof, but it is water resistant, and the pigment or the dye stays on the sheet of paper as the ink goes up, and that will be more clear when I show you the water resistance test, but I will show it in a moment. Now let's go for the pens that I chose for this review. And the pens I chose were and I have my fingers dirty with these because I just found there is a problem with the pen. It is a Parker Latitude, and this Parker Latitude has, and let me try to show, this is not a pen review, so maybe it doesn't make that much sense, but there somewhere next to the lip of the section there is a crack, and you can see it has some ink there, and so it is leaking ink from there. So I got my fingers dirty. This pen will be used and then I will clean it, and I will use only for this video, and then I will clean it. I will empty it to the other pen, all the ink to the other pen, and this one will go to be cleaned, and then I'll try to see if this is repairable. This is a F nib, it is marked there. The other pen that I chose to have a really big contrast with the line width is the Lamy Dialogue CC that I just received 3 days ago from Appleboom. So Appleboom sent me this pen for review, and here you have the Lamy CC with a broad gold nib. So you have a very different pen. It's really different in many aspects, and so that's what I'm used for the writing samples. Now for the writing samples, let me bring here 3 papers: the Moleskine, the Oxford Optic paper, and the Navigator copy paper. For the Moleskine, we have here the ink. I think the ink behaved quite well. There's not much of feathering, although the line of the Lamy Dialogue is crazily fat. You cannot see much sheen there, only a little bit on this end where more ink stayed on paper, but not that much of sheen. And I think this happens because this paper is very absorbent. So maybe you can see maybe a small halo of sheen in some parts of the ink. There is bleed through mostly with the Lamy dialogue, and that's what happens when your paper is like this. Then we have this Oxford optic paper, which is really good because it is coated, so usually there is no bleed through, only there on those parts. Maybe I stayed a little longer there with the nib when I was writing, but otherwise there is no bleed through. It works really well, and let's take a look. You can see some red sheen on that kind of swatch, and you can see the red sheen all over the writing, and even on that. Let's take a look at that O, because I have a small handwriting, so the O is completely closed, only a little hole there on the middle, but it is almost completely closed, and you can see that the sheen is mostly as a halo around the letters, and you can see sheen on the writing, and when we go to the Lamy dialogue there is much more sheen, and the sheen is not how can I say this, the sheen is not homogeneous. It stays more in some places of the writing than in others, so it's kind of having shading of the ink, but not with the real color, it's with the sheen. So that's how it looks. I hope you could understand this kind of description that I made. Now this is the Navigator copy paper, bleed through as expected. This paper is not coated. Let me look for the sheen, and I'm really struggling to see any, and I don't think I can see sheen, at least looking at it. Maybe then on camera you can see more. There are some inks that I say I don't see much of something, but then on camera it picks up better than my eyes, but no, I don't see the sheen on this paper. So we have some sheen on Moleskine, we have real sheen on the Oxford paper, and the tone of the ink looks a little different. It looks a lighter blue with this paper, and with the copy paper no sheen at all. It disappears completely. But nice shade of blue. Anyway, now when we go to the Rhodia dot pad, which is the same kind of paper we have here, although this is squared paper and this is dot pad, you can see here, let me look for some sheen. I think we can see some, but with the fine nib it's not that visible, but I think there is a little bit. About the drying time, 5, 10, 20 seconds, 25, 30, so around 30, it still smears just a little bit, but not much. About the water resistance, as expected, you can still see the original line, even after the water stayed there for a few minutes and then I cleaned it with a paper towel, so you can see the original line, and then you have this halo of the ink that was in a way removed. So there is some water resistance, I think enough to have the writing still legible and now, or readable. And now let's see how it performs with the famous phrase, and then we end the video. Let me just clean these a little bit more. Yes, this paper towel is full of ink. So, and the pen skips also. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. These pen skips, I don't know if it has anything to do with the crack. and even the crack I didn't notice before, because this is the first time I used this pen. It was a used pen when I bought it, so secondhand. I just cleaned and started using it today and found this. And now this pen that I also started using today, and this pen will be reviewed maybe with this ink inside, and mostly because I will transfer the rest of the ink that is here into this one. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. This ink, this nib is really smooth and really broad. So it's not a nib for me, but I can understand how some people find this nib amazing. Really broad line, really wet, really smooth. I can understand how people like it. I don't, just because of that. My handwriting, and here I'm making a large handwriting, it is too small for those kind of nibs. You can see the E, the O's the A's are closed because the line is too thick. So there is a little sheen on the Parker line, and there is, it's hard to see, at least I'm having a hard time to see it now, but I can see it on camera here, but I can see with my eyes that there is that red halo around the letter. So if you want a blue ink that has a heavy red sheen, this is a good ink. So if it's fun if you're getting these Inkvent Calendar, but if you're looking for an ink with this kind of red sheen, I don't have many blue inks, but at least my Leonardo has that kind of sheen, so it is available. And you can also go for the last year's inks, and you have some other shadings with red sheen. So it's just a matter of how you like your blue. If you like blue with red sheen, you have lots of options here. So this is all I had to show you. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope to meet you here again tomorrow. Bye.